Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's CBB Review's flagship podcast, The Review. Happy New Year. 2020 is over, ladies and gentlemen. We're here on New Year's Day 2021. My name is Brendon Hodges, flying solo today on this New Year's Day edition of The Review. It's a pleasure to be here with you. I thank you for picking up on us, watching us on YouTube and other mediums to come. And really, it's just exciting to be here. New year. More college basketball coming up faster than really you can expect, and plenty of games going on today and throughout the weekend, even with other sporting events like the college football playoff and the NFL and NBA going on. College basketball still taking precedence in our lives. But for now, we'll go ahead and get to my starting five, and it has to do with my own New Year's resolution as it pertains to college basketball. And it's really a three-step New Year's resolution for me. Don't take college basketball for granted. Don't take it too seriously. Still, I want to take it seriously because, it's this is what the podcast is about. It's about college basketball, and I got to pay attention to it, but I want to be able to enjoy it while taking it seriously. And that goes whether it's play-by-play, color commentary, podcasting, whatever. And there's a reason for that being my three-step college basketball New Year's resolution. It's because we're seeing a ton of stories that are going on this year. It's very competitive, whether it's non-conference games and upsets by Fort Hays State over Kansas State or Richmond over Kentucky, even though that seems like a little bit less of an upset now. But it's also just in conference play. The Big Ten, very competitive right now. The A-10, also very competitive. The SEC, with some surprise teams at the top, like Missouri, and Tennessee's not a surprise, but we got to see a okay game between those two the other night. And we've seen some real struggles with teams like Kentucky, with teams like Duke, and other schools stepping up to take their place. Not necessarily a passing of the torch, but it still makes for a very interesting rest of the college basketball season. And after what happened last spring with the COVID pandemic, halting conference tournaments and eventually canceling them, as well as the big dance, the NCAA tournament, the NIT, the women's national tournament. It's very important, for me at least, that I don't take college basketball or really any sport being present in my life for granted, because it's what I love to talk about. It's what I love to watch. It's what I used to love to do. If you don't know this, I played college football. I called college basketball, softball, water polo. It's all exciting for me. And yet sometimes, because it was just there and I was able to do all that, I took it for granted a little bit. And that's my New Year's resolution when it comes to college basketball, every other sport as well. I'll be watching the college football playoff tonight. Just don't take it for granted. It's there. Enjoy it. And enjoy the fact that we're going to be able to have it for hopefully a long period of time without a pause like we've had already. Other than that, though, that's my starting five. Like I said, flying solo today here on The Review. Going to be a shorter episode. We're just going to hop straight into stories since we last saw you, though. Starting with, we had a ton of ranked action over the last week. I'm not going to get too much into this. Iowa beating Northwestern, ending their gauntlet run. Northwestern actually had a couple of really big wins. Iowa, though, defeating them. I mentioned Tennessee beating Missouri pretty handily, I might add as well. Missouri, an up-and-coming team in the SEC for sure. A lot of young pieces and then some more experienced ones as well. Really couldn't handle Tennessee's, just really couldn't overcome Eve Pons. Let's just be honest with it, along with the rest of the guys on Tennessee's team. And then Wisconsin beating Minnesota. Minnesota also having a pretty solid season in the Big Ten as well. Other than that, though, the biggest story that we've seen over the last week or so, Arizona self-imposing a one-year postseason ban. We'd seen Auburn do the same thing earlier this year. I'm pretty sure it stemmed from the same thing. Arizona's, though, stemming from that 2017 federal investigation into corruption in college basketball and college basketball recruiting. If you remember back in October, ESPN and The Athletic reported allegations against the university himself, as well as head basketball coach Sean Miller. And this postseason ban, self-imposed again by Arizona, includes the Pac-12 tournament for this year, which means that Arizona's season will end on the 6th of March against in-state rival Arizona State. And you never know, maybe we'll see more of this from other schools who were caught up in that corruption allegations. Arizona, of course, is at the forefront of all of that. But it comes and it goes, and we'll see what happens with all of those schools. We'll go ahead and just keep moving on, though. Moving on here on the review. Like I said, flying solo today. Probably no breaks, but we'll see. Going to go ahead and do drawing a blank. New Year's resolutions. I already gave you mine. I have a couple written here for various teams that I've just drawn up here. But I'm going to start with surprise teams in each conference. I already mentioned one, Missouri. Northwestern took a couple teams by surprise in the Big Ten. They were good a few years ago, made it to the tournament, won a game, I believe, and then last year took a step back. But now they're ranked. They're playing pretty good basketball, and I'm going to include Minnesota in there as well, because they're usually middle of the pack in the Big Ten, but they've been winning a couple games against high-ranked teams as well. And all three of these teams have something in common. They've taken a loss recently. New Year's resolution for those surprise teams, in whatever conference it may be, stay the course, stem the tide. Yes, you took a loss to a higher ranked team in your own conference. Teams that are probably a lot more established, have had consistent success over the last couple of years. Just stay the course, build, grow. Win. You're going to win games. You're going to lose some. It doesn't matter. Just finding your way to the postseason is the first thing. Once you get there, then it's really no pressure on you at all. No one expects you to win. No one expects you to win. But you might as well, because it proves all the doubters wrong, and why not? The next one, though, is focused on the team that people do usually expect to do well and that we've discussed a lot on this show, Kentucky. Not doing so hot right now heading into the conference play. Still 1-6. They play Mississippi State later this weekend. Take this season, Kentucky. Just take it one step at a time. Don't try and rush yourself into anything. You're very young. You're very inexperienced. And the season's not even half over yet. You've only played 7 games, and you have a whole conference slate ahead of you. You win one game, and then you start getting on a roll, and you win another and another and another. You can find yourself back at the top of the conference and into discussion to get into the tournament. But yes, you've had a bad start to the season. That doesn't really mean anything. It's not how you start the season, it's how you finish. I know it's a cliche, but it's a true cliche. If you start putting some good games together, close wins, maybe a close loss, it builds confidence in a young team. A lot of freshmen on that team, couple transfers as well. And then you build old Uncle momentum, and you find your way into meaningful games, postseason games, and maybe you shock a couple teams in the tournament that otherwise were down on you a little bit. The next one is for Gonzaga. It's pretty straightforward. New Year's resolution, win the whole thing. You are, at this point in time, the best team in the nation, and it's not even close. You play in a conference that, yes, is weaker by the standards of all the other Power Fives. I'm going to put the Big East in there and call it the Power Six. Yes, it's the weaker conference that you are in. Who cares? You're destroying teams one way or another. That game against Iowa, like, the score doesn't really show how dominant you were in that game. Just keep playing your way. I know Jalen Suggs is out, at least for the next game, unless that already happened by the time this has gone out. But you're the best team in the nation right now. Act like it and keep that confidence with you, because you have a very good shot, if everything breaks your way, to get into the tournament. Well, you're getting to the tournament, I'm pretty sure. But making a deep run, and probably, at least my pick is that you're going to win the entire thing. And it shouldn't even be close. Lastly, though, this New Year's resolution is just for the NCAA in general. And we've seen plenty of schools decide that, you know what, we're going to opt out of the rest of the season. It's not worth it to our student athletes' physical health. We want them to focus on academics and other things. For the NCAA, though, do not be rash when it comes to the situations ongoing in the world. Yes, there is a worldwide pandemic going on. But yes, there are ways that people are combating that right now. First vaccine is showing promise, at least right now. And it's about letting these collegiate athletes play. So let them play. Have the tournament. You have protocols in place. If teams can't follow them, then and they opt out, that's fine. Just stay the course. It's not going to be perfect. The season is still going on as far as we can all tell. There's no talk of shutting the entire thing down, and keep it that way. Have the tournament, have the NIT, have it in one location, and let the kids play. That's what we want to see. Don't take the season for granted. Don't succumb to people who are saying, oh, why are sports being played? That's dangerous. And yes, it is dangerous, but the students want to play. The fans want to see them play. We want to cover games that they're playing. Let them play. And I think by the time this is all over, you'll be happy that they did. And I have no doubt that you'll let them play. So let's do it. Like I said, shorter episode today. Those were drawing a blank, New Year's resolutions. We'll get into some game picks here in just a minute. But again, I just want to thank you guys who have watched our episodes for the last month or so. This is something that we're still working the kinks out of. We're building it to be something great. I can tell you personally that my other New Year's resolution when it comes to this is making this podcast a lot better. Because I know that right now is just a starting point. Matt Majinski, Matt Carner, all the guys who have been on the show already, Ben Hall, Jordan Pardo, Matt Waldman, are committed to the site and in turn committed to this podcast as well. We love doing it. I've talked with a lot of them. They say they enjoy coming on. We hope you enjoy watching us. And it's just one of those things where we're going to keep working at the kinks. We have a long season ahead of us. We're not even halfway done yet. 2021 we have 3 more months, at least 4 more months actually, of college basketball if you include the tournament. And we're excited, and it's only going to get better. It's only going to get bigger, and we're only going to keep bringing you more content. Speaking of that, a lot of stuff going on the website that you should check out, bracketology for one, as well as the New Year's content that we have out are on Instagram, on Twitter. I believe they just finished their top 5 moments of the 2020 calendar year, so be sure to check that out. For now, though, we'll finish off this shortened New Year's edition episode with some game picks. I only picked 6 games today. Not a lot of ranked action, really no ranked action at all going on today. That's probably due to college football playoff games going on this afternoon. But plenty of ranked action going on throughout the rest of the weekend. And it starts in the Big 12. Texas and Kansas, 2 of the top teams in the Big 12. I just feel like Kansas is a little more balanced and a little more experienced than Texas is at this point. I'm going to take Kansas by 5, 77-72. I am in no way an expert on picking games, but I figured it's something we do. I might as well do it. I'll only pick 6. We'll move on. Iowa playing Rutgers. I feel like that Iowa loss in overtime to Minnesota, I'm not going to say it woke them up, but it made them realize they're not going to be able to walk over the entire Big Ten, because the Big Ten is very competitive this year. You have the Northwesterns of the world. You have Minnesota. You have Illinois, even though they've had 3 losses now. But I'll take Iowa to beat Rutgers by 5. Again, 88-83. Luka Garza, probably going to be player of the year. It's just how it works. I'm going to say Iowa by 5. Next up in the ACC, Virginia Tech, Virginia in-state rivalry. The only question I have to ask is, who else has Virginia Tech played besides Villanova? They beat Villanova. They beat Clemson when they were ranked. I just feel like Virginia is the better team and has had a tougher schedule. I'll take Virginia to win by 10, actually, 65-55. Also in the ACC, Duke, Florida State. What's shocking to me about this game is how similar the two teams really are. Usually you see Florida State playing 9, 10 guys and Duke maybe playing 6 or 7. But there are at least 8 guys on Duke who play double-digit minutes and can play. It'll be an interesting game to see how both teams use their substitutions and counter each other's moves when it comes to that sort of thing. I'm going to say Duke in a very close game. Very close. They've had rest. They've had practice to kind of gel. that could be helpful or hurtful. And Florida State coming off a loss. I'll take Duke by 1, 73-72. Ohio State, Minnesota. Minnesota has actually had a semi-gauntlet as of late. Iowa and Michigan State both win, then a loss to Wisconsin. Ohio State, still a very good team, but I think Minnesota will pull this one out 65-62. And finally, I'm going to take Michigan to beat Northwestern 79-72. Those are my game picks. Please don't put as much weight on them as you would with all the writers that usually come on here. Like I said, though, shorter episode today. Pleased to have you guys along with us for the long haul. We'll be getting more episodes out there. Next Monday, we'll have one. We'll have some more writers on as well, and we'll be talking some more college basketball as we head through the middle of the season and back towards the tournament. Can't wait for that. One of the things I'm looking forward to most in the next couple of months. But thanks for joining us on the review. I'm Brendon Hodges. No, it was a short episode. Hope you have a happy new year. Spend time with your families, be safe, and enjoy some college basketball and sports in general in the coming weeks. We'll see you guys next Monday. Have no episode for you up. This one will be up later this afternoon, but take care, guys. Have a great rest of your day and a happy new year.